Welcome to The Dead Life. Today we're taking questions for our Love Me, Love Me Not segment. And these questions are somewhat complicated to answer, but we'll give it our best shot. Today I'm joined by my daughter, Sophia DuBois, to weigh in with her intuition and insight. If you want to leave me a message that might be shared on a future episode of The Dead Life and my Love Me, Love Me Not segment, leave it at 802-DEAD-811. That's 802-332-3811. You can follow me on Instagram at Medium Allison, on my Facebook fan page, and you can binge on my YouTube videos to watch readings, including episodes of The Dead Life. If you have abilities of your own and are looking to expand them and connect with other gifted people, go to deaduniversity.com. Sophia, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So I love having you on the show. It's just like having a little favorite person running around the world that comes into my studio and hangs out with me and listens to sort of some slightly juicy call-ins. And so it's going to, there's a lot of layers to this. And so as the listeners are following some of these audio messages that people leave, keep in mind, you have to follow the details of what they're saying because there's a lot of details involved in their stories. So do you want to go ahead and start with the first caller?
Let's do it.
My partner's mom, so my mother-in-law, passed away on the 4th of September, 2023. And prior to her passing, she had asked my partner to make a choice between our relationship and their relationship. So basically, he would need to choose me or her. And this really tore my partner up because he loved his mom and he loves me. We love each other. And it was an unmakeable choice, really. And ultimately, he chose to be the son he could be, but he wasn't willing to end a relationship, thankfully, because we're very happy together. But what we're wondering is, like, he sat with her on her deathbed and held her hand until she passed away, hoping for there to be some kind of moment of peace. And it never came. She wouldn't look at him. She wouldn't acknowledge him and his choices. I think some of her last words were that she was just so disappointed and that he'd let her down and not been who she wanted him to be. We're just wondering, because this is a certain kind of grief, we had hoped to see her go in a much more peaceful way, and it wasn't possible. What happens in that kind of situation, and how can we make peace with the lingering feelings of grief when they were unresolved in life? I had even been thinking about getting up the courage to join Dead University, but I have to admit this situation rattled us so much that I started to question, what my role could be, because somebody in my life directly who I hoped should be a support to at their end of life, it wasn't possible. Thank you again for all that you do. I love hearing you and Joe talk. It's so inspiring to hear you guys. And thank you. Bye. So
let me just say, I find it, being a mother myself, so unfortunate when, and it happens. Some people take it to the mat at the end. Like they take the anger with them, which will dissipate on the other side once they're shown how they've affected people. This is being a bad mom on steroids. Like you don't run that kind of an agenda on your kid, especially if their partner makes them so happy, unless you think somehow they're taking out life insurance policies and that person's going to kill your kid. That might be an exception. But like on your deathbed, that's very different that she wouldn't look at him and that she put that kind of guilt onto her son and her daughter-in-law, who would have been a great conduit for her to talk to after she died. But instead, she made it ugly at the end, instead of having that sort of reckoning and that awareness of life is short and we only get so much time together, and I want my son to know what he means to me. And I want to thank this woman who's my daughter-in-law for making him so happy and take care of my baby and be good to one another, be happy. That's more along the lines of what you would expect a mother to say at that time, especially on your deathbed, on her deathbed. What was your take on this?
So I agree. She was on her deathbed. How could you know you're going out of the world and, your son, one of her loves,
right,
is there with you. And then his wife still came regardless
right.
of her, the
because she loves
feeling.
him. She wants to be there for her husband.
For him. So it's obviously she comes from a good place. Not the mother-in-law.
Right.
The
yes.
one that calls
daughter-in-law. Yes.
Yeah. The daughter-in-law. I mean, that's a tough situation, especially for the son. And I get the guilt that comes with that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he made the right decision. Why would he cut off a relationship with you for his mom when there's no reasoning behind it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's more to the story. We just don't know. But I can't imagine there's a good enough reason to say that unless,
something that might help her and her husband is there are ways once somebody passes to sort of forgive or clear the air so you don't have to carry those words with you and continuously hurt yourself with feeling guilty and, hearing her words in his head. You're a disappointment. I'm so disappointed in you. The power of a parent to hurt a child is deep and everlasting. So parents really do have to be careful of their selfish tendencies and running agendas and trying to control her environment, saying, choose me. My sense is his mother had issues with losing men or men exiting her life, and she had no control over it. So the son, she knew in her heart, she's like, he loves me unconditionally. He's going to choose me. But she put him in an impossible situation when she pitted herself against the wife, and that wasn't fair. But I would imagine that either she had a father who wasn't there for her, or she had a partner who wasn't there for her or left her. She's got some insecurity.
Well, and right now, on TikTok anyway, that I've seen, there's a big thing going around with boy moms who especially only have one kid, and it's their son, and they're obsessed kind of with their son and don't think any woman's good enough, which is fine from a parent's perspective, but then don't interfere.
Yeah, most parents feel that way.
Yeah, don't interfere by being well, you can't, you can't have us both. Pick. It's why can't he have both of you?
Right.
And the woman on the phone sounded so nice. I feel like she never would take attention.
To tap into her energy. She felt
sweet.
like a reasonable diplomatic person who was being supportive of her love. And I just don't want this to drive a wedge between her husband and her as he feels guilty, and maybe sometimes husband or a wife will take it out on the partner then once the person dies because they're angry at being put in that position, but they don't have the person that died to take it out on, so they take it out on the person that stood by them.
I mean, I feel like...
So don't do that if you're listening.
I feel like the way she spoke about their marriage, it's really strong and really healthy and happy. I don't think that that's going to happen, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. For most couples,
I'm just saying that human nature, I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
Also, something that can help people out there who had a bad relationship or a painful ending with somebody that was close to them, that was instrumental in their life. One of the things you can do is acknowledge that you were different energies, that you think differently, you feel differently. Maybe you don't understand each other so well, but you're glad that they found a sense of peace and that you're happy for them, that either they're going to sort out what they feel on the other side, or maybe come back for another turn in the physical world to evolve, to learn what she didn't learn in this lifetime, which is selflessness and unconditional love. Unconditional love doesn't mean you're going to unconditionally say you love somebody unconditionally and that makes it true. You have to show it. You have to put it into action. And when she was tested, that unconditional love, she showed conditions on her love in that he had to give up his wife. It's a lot. It's just a lot. But I will say, when you talk to the person on the other side that you had a riff with, or there's tension or disappointment connected to them, you have to remember that they were people who lived before they had us, if they're parents. They had their own wounds. You hope they heal those wounds on the other side. You can say that to them. I hope you heal your wounds and are able to find a sense of contentment and peace. And I choose to think of you as you were before you became jaded, before you became hurt by whatever hurt you in this world. And I'm sorry that you went through that. I love you, and I want nothing but a sense of calm in your energy, and the people around you. I do pray that they're able to help you get to where you need to be, to understand why you reacted to people you love the way that you did, and to be able to let go of something like that. Because I've had one of those relationships with someone in my family who we're just never going to see eye to eye. It's never going to be like that. And all I can hope and wish for them on the other side when they do get there is that they finally find a sense of peace and contentment and joy that they were unable to find in the physical plane this time around. That brings me some peace, actually, to look at it that way, because I'm not trying to control the person to see my point of view. I'm not trying to acclimate to their point of view, because to me, it's not rational. So since there's no meeting of the minds where you're able to get to that place of understanding, you can at least feel and send your intention and your energy to them that I want you to find whatever it was that you were looking for in this lifetime that evaded you. I want that for you. I pray for that for you. And I'm sending you all this good mojo that should be waiting for you when you get there. It brings me some peace. It's a way to take that pain and turn it into calm.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I hope that helped. And please tell your husband his mom would see things very differently now. She would see how she's hurt him, how she hurt the daughter-in-law. She would ask forgiveness. She would tell her son that she loves him, that she's sorry. She would show him why she became that way, what happened in her life to cause those wounds. And she would want for the two of you to be happy together. So please don't hang on those last words and the energy she was emitting into the atmosphere when you were in that hospital room with her. Instead, cling to those moments that your mom was making you a sandwich for lunch, and the cards you made her when you were a little boy, and those happy moments you had together. Let that fill up that part inside of you that was empty from her conditions that she placed on you.
Yeah.
So I will say that. And I just want the young woman, the daughter-in-law, to understand, don't not go down your spiritual path, because there are some people that react the way your mother-in-law did. More people don't react that way than do.
Yeah.
So more people do find enlightenment at the end of their life or towards the end of their life, and don't take it to the mat and take that anger and vendetta with them. So that's actually a little more rare. And so I just want her to keep that in mind. Do not be afraid of counseling and connecting with the other side. It's a wonderful world to live in. You see the soul's ability to shift and grow and connect with others. It's beautiful, and I'm just sorry that the mother-in-law did not find that sense of peace. I do wonder, normally when somebody's going to die, there will be people in the room with them who have already passed. I'm curious what those people who were in the room with her before she passed had to say after she passed. about what they witnessed. So that's another level of learning for the mother-in-law.
No kidding.
So just my 2 cents. Sorry. So do you want to go to the next question?
Yes.
Hello, hi. My name is Nancy. I'm from the Midwest. It's freezing here, so hopefully you're somewhere warm. I just had a quick question. I'm a Christian, and I am strong to my faith. My sister's ex-husband years ago confessed that he was an atheist and always lived his life as an atheist. He's recently passed, and my question is, have you ever tuned in on somebody that was an atheist that believes that when it's over, the afterlife? I was wondering if, things over on the other side, if they're an atheist, if they come through to you and what they, I guess, express and let you know how they feel on the other side. Just a quick question. Thank you. Have a great day.
Have I brought through atheists? Yes, I have. Many, many atheists over the years. So the magic component to having this happy afterlife that we all hope for, that we all try to create while we're here in the physical world, can be created by an atheist if they love, if they connect with others, if they empathize with others, bring joy to others. The more interesting the character, the more interesting the versions of heaven on the other side. So you can be an atheist, and now here's a kicker though. I don't find that most atheists are all that much fun, but that's just my experience. I find that people who believe in spirituality tend to be a little bit more visionary, accepting, empathetic to humans, to animals. They're more thoughtful, in my experience. Atheists, though, can have a beautiful other side if they loved big and laughed hard and had many friends. That's really what creates your heaven over there. You can think that you're going to be warm food when you die. And technically, the body is, but they don't account for the soul. And that's so interesting with most atheists. They don't account for a soul. They just think it's their body. And then what? The soul dissipates into nothingness? I mean, no, it's there. And it's actually much bigger than our physical presence. It's stronger. It's more focused. So atheists just have it wrong. That's all. But that doesn't mean they can't have a heaven as well and be with the people they love. So...
yeah, I was just talking to someone about this actually a couple days ago. And because the thing is, if you're an atheist and you're bitter about it, and I hate the people that come after you for your faith and your religion, and you're like, can't you just think what you think and I think what I think?
Live and let
live.
What happened to that?
And then we see what happens when we die, and that's cool. But I feel like an atheist that truly believes they only have one life and they live it to the fullest.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
You're talking about some of the cynics that are out there that are maybe more naturally angry people that want to project their view on you and then show you how stupid you are for believing in something that they have no understanding of themselves. Yeah. So
and there's no like real answers, like you have to live it. I mean, at least you've talked to people that have passed, so you have somewhat of an idea, but you're not even going to really know until you're on the other side.
There's going to be some surprises in my Cracker Jack box, too.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, why wouldn't they be on the other side? And I'm sure they did learn when they passed that it's real, and they're like, oh, I need to take advantage right now.
Yeah.
And come through. Yeah. And talk to my family, tell them what's going on.
Yeah, atheist is its own category. Some people don't believe because they resent religion, because they were raised religiously. Other people don't believe because they think they're more of an intellectual and they never exercise themselves on a soul level. So their soul's actually very weak and mute. And I feel sorry for them because that's sad. You can't fully live if your heart doesn't leap
Yeah.
If you don't feel connected to other people, you can't have a soulmate.
Well, yeah, but, I do understand atheists in a sense if they weren't raised around it and they're just seeing kind of the culty side of some religions. I get why they would think it's just,
right.
I mean, yeah, but for others, it's a sense of community.
Right.
Yeah, it just depends.
That's what used to happen. The churches and the people in the churches took care of the members of the church who were getting a divorce and didn't have food or didn't have money or needed clothes. They'd have clothing drives. Our churches took care of our communities. And once they started pulling churches out of areas and there's more population than there could possibly be churches to service them and people become less religious, you just don't see those services. So it becomes the government's. Interesting.
And then a lot of churches turned into those giant performances.
Yeah.
Where it's just too showy.
Yeah.
And you're like, for what?
Yeah.
Like,
this real up with people.
Yeah. Well, I do get it from a certain standpoint, though, of the showy stuff.
It's at least constructive.
Well, yeah, but it's so the younger people want to come because it's fun and it's like, but some of those churches have taken it too far. Where I'm like, well, I think we got lost in translation here.
I totally get what you're talking about. And I will say there's also the atheists who didn't grow up around spirituality.
True.
So they just don't understand spirituality. It doesn't mean they're not going to make sense of it later in life, or they're not going to have a visit, that they don't have their own premonitions. It doesn't mean that those things won't happen for them, but some people don't know what spirituality looks like, or they attribute it with, a headscarf and, human sacrifices or something really out there, which is not what it is at all.
Well, also, I feel like some people don't believe until there's a reason to believe. For instance, Aurora.
Right.
She was an atheist for a long time.
Right.
And then she was struggling in LA and she started praying to God, and then things started to go in her favor a bit more, just whenever she would pray.
Your sister did that just to piss me off.
I know.
Okay. I just wanted to be clear about that.
Well,
that was a fun teen stage in her life for us to go through.
Yep.
See, all parents go through it no matter what. And whatever you do, your kid's going to hate and be adverse to that. At some point, one of your kids will do that and rebel. And that was her rebellion. So
yes,
I get it. Thank God she changed and grew.
Oh my gosh. I know.
So yes, Nancy, atheists, definitely. There is a heaven for them as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Should we do the next?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, Allison. My name's Chrisanne, and I wonder your thoughts on this. I've always thought that deja vu happened because before I came to live this life, I sat down with the Creator, and He showed me the life that I would live and the lessons I would learn, and I agreed to it. So when I see something that I feel like this has happened before, it's because I've seen it before. I've also always believed that heaven, I get to sit back with the Creator and see all the different choices I might have made and decide that the life I lived is the life that I would have picked. My mother always said that if you learned everybody's story at a cocktail party, you pick your own. But my question is, if I connect with perhaps my grandmother on the other side who knew and loved the love of my life like I did, would she be able to tell me why I would have agreed to let him go, and now I'm married to not the love of my life, and neither is he, and we both hope that we're going to connect on the other side where our heaven and earth was when we were together. So would she be able to tell me why I agreed to this? Because I feel like I'm going to live the rest of this life regretting that I'm not still with him. So those are my questions. Thank you. I love your show. Have a great day.
Damn, Chrisanne.
Oh my gosh.
So, first of all, let me go with her vision of what the other side is. I don't have all the answers. I only know what I've seen on the other side, which the dead have shown me. So I don't claim to have all of those answers. So whatever she thinks, she sat down with her Creator and figured this, what her life was going to be if she came here, what she would deal with. But people don't take the personal responsibility for our choices either. There might be something karmic that you have to come back for to grow from or to evolve through and make a different decision than you did in the last lifetime. However, she had a choice, as did he, to be together. They still have that choice.
That's very true.
They have
it
that
might
choice.
Feel hard, like you don't have
Right.
the choice. Yeah, absolutely.
As long as you're alive and he's alive, it's a choice. So you're choosing to let the love of your life go. It's not that the creator said, you're going to meet the love of your life, but we're going to snatch him away from you. You let him go at some point. Something happened. The two of you didn't fight for one another for whatever reason, because I don't have all of those answers from Chrisanne. But you married somebody else. It's so interesting how different people can be. I see things in very black and white. If I hadn't met your dad, I would have probably never gotten married. And definitely after your dad, I have no interest in anything like that if something happened to him.
Yeah.
So for me, if I can't have the love of my life, then I don't want anyone. And that's just how I feel. I could get through life, just be like creating things, building things, and be content. Now, for her, maybe in a last lifetime, she let go of the love of her life then also. And this lifetime was for her to hold on. Maybe she didn't. So I don't mean this in any way in judgment of the choices she made. I just think when we're thinking about how our life is unfolding, we have to take some responsibility for things that are within our control. And technically, this is within both of their control.
I wish I had more context behind why they're not together. Because, well, and also, because she said that he's the love of her life and she's his, but he's not happy with his wife and she's not happy with her husband. I'm like, first of all,
Right.
you've been speaking. You know what I mean?
Right.
You've been talking to this man.
Right.
I mean,
Or
either
at least stalking each other
or
on
stalking
social media.
on Instagram. But you're right. It's a choice. If you're not happy, especially with your husband currently, you're never going to be happy unless you do something for yourself.
No.
I mean, it's your life.
You'll always compare the not love of your life to the love of your life and how the love of your life made you feel.
Well, she'll have what ifs. Like, what if I would...
And in defense of the man she's married to now, and I say this to clients because I cannot... This is why I started the Love Me Not segment.
Yeah.
I cannot begin to explain how many people I read who are in her situation.
Yeah.
And they always say they knew when they walked down the aisle they were making a mistake. Runaway brides exist for a reason. They're the ones that don't go through with it, you know? So if you ever have that feeling walking down the aisle, pull back.
Probably
Pull back.
a good idea.
But in defense of him, what I was going to say is, and what I say to my clients, your husband doesn't want to be sort of the second choice or,
No one would,
you know, nobody's born thinking, I hope I'm, you know, the alternate to who she really wants to be with. That would be really fulfilling.
To be the backup plan.
You're the backup plan. So I think he deserves to find somebody who would love him and see him as the love of her life rather than be with somebody whose mind and heart are always going to be with somebody else. I mean, wouldn't that shred you? Wouldn't you rather a guy walk away from you than your second place?
For your whole life, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a marriage right there. Well, yeah, because it is a bit selfish, right? To both of their significant others.
When you have that knowledge and your spouse doesn't have that knowledge, that information. Now, if they know their second choice,
and they still continue, I mean, that's on them.
at least they were given all the information.
Yeah.
Right?
An option in the end as well.
Yeah. So, Chrisanne, I hurt for you because that would be terrible to have to roll over in bed and look at a guy's face that you're like, ugh. I so don't want to look at you. Why did I marry you? Oh, what a mistake.
Okay, she never said she hated her husband.
I'm just sensing that there are moments where, okay, here's the thing. When you're in love with somebody else, anybody else touching you in that romantic way makes your skin crawl.
Okay, but we don't have all of the information
Okay,
either,
that's fair.
you know, so you can,
That's fair.
you and your assumptions.
Okay, I want her to be happy.
I want her to be happy.
I want her
too.
to be happy. Chrisanne,
I know.
call up the guy. Let your husband go find somebody that will love him completely.
Yeah.
And let his wife find somebody who will love him completely. Maybe they can get together. I don't know.
Could you
But
imagine?
It's happened.
They swap.
It's happened.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, who was it? Was it Shania Twain? Her husband left her for her best friend. Yeah, Mutt Lange. Left her for her best friend. And then she ended up marrying her best friend's ex-husband. Yeah, it happens.
It was nuts because there's so many people in the world and they chose the worst.
They can understand what each other's going through when that does happen. So at least they understand each other's pain. But
that's true.
I would say for Chrisanne, life is short. Try not to spend the rest of your life holding on to somebody just for security.
Yeah.
It's not fair to him. It's not fair to her. And no matter what the love of her life chooses to do, they both deserve more, Chrisanne and the husband that she has now. They deserve to have all of the information and be that huge flutter in somebody's heart when they're around. I wouldn't ever settle. It's just not in me. And I would say to young women out there, don't settle. Don't settle. There are ways around marrying the wrong person. And I think sometimes young women don't know that that's the love of their life until they get further down the road and they're like, oh my God, that was it. And they had walked past it. And then it's too late.
Well,
I've
it's
seen
unfortunate
that.
too with my generation with dating apps.
Yeah.
Because you can just swipe like it's a game, no problem.
Yeah.
But you're constantly, well, first you're just seeing them as their photo, that first photo,
Right.
and you're not giving them a chance. But then you see Instagram and TikTok and social media with these girls and guys who either have filters on or make their life look perfect. So then you're like, oh no, there's better out there
Or
than
they're
this person.
they're hat fishing you.
They're hat fishing. For those of you that don't know that, it's when a man wears a hat and he looks really good and then he takes it off
Doesn't look good
and he
anymore.
has receding hairline. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. But it is a hat fish.
That's a hat fish. I love it. You guys have so much to worry about. And
Yeah.
I met your dad just in a bar, college bar one night. And we have our story.
Yeah.
I don't want your story to talk about, I swiped right or swiped left. And, your dad came back in the picture because he wouldn't give up. And I finally swiped right the next time. Or I don't know. I've never been
Your
on one of
father
those.
slid into my DMs.
That is so funny.
It's like, oh, how romantic.
So people have to go out. They can't just sit on social media and think they're going to find this meaningful relationship. I mean,
It's rough out there, though.
even a broken clock's right twice a day.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying there's going to be exceptions out there that may have met on social media, but maybe you could have done better. Just kidding.
Oh my God. No, it's rough out there. So
It is rough
when
out
you find
there.
the love of your life,
Hold on.
Hold on for dear life because it is rough out there.
And
It's hard to find someone with chemistry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Chemistry is huge
So
because
important.
when you disagree or you get into a blowout fight, and eventually you will because life can take a toll. It's life.
Yeah.
You need the chemistry, the winks, the smirks, that tension between the two of you to bring you back together.
Yeah.
And it does. So I think a lot of people hold out for something better in our society. And I think it's been this way for a long time where women are like, what if something better comes along? It's like, what if it doesn't?
Also, look at what you have right in front of you.
Right. But it's got to be, it's a feeling.
It is a feeling.
It's a feeling of your soul being complete when that person walks through the door. It's a feeling.
Because there have been guys who
Right.
are perfect on paper.
Oh, I know.
Like seriously perfect on paper.
Yeah.
Super good looking. And they're so nice.
Yeah.
Zero
Chemistry,
spark,
yeah.
chemistry, anything. If you're not getting those butterflies, I know some people say butterflies are actually a bad thing, but I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
Your dad still gives me butterflies. I don't understand why they haven't had butterflies. That's what's happening here.
They've had the wrong butterflies.
They've had the wrong.
They
had
their
moths.
heart.
They had moths.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Their dusty little heart. Just kidding.
No, no.
So let's go to the next question.
Okay.
Hello, my name's Heather Cates. I was listening to your podcast with your daughter, and a caller was sad that they had lost a baby in the family right after birth. And you had said something about the baby coming back into the family. I had a twin that died at birth, and I never put two and two together, but until I was pregnant with my daughter, I felt like my twin was always with me. Once I had my daughter, I didn't feel like that connection was there anymore. So I was curious if it's possible that my twin came back as my daughter. My second piece of that is earlier this year I lost my fiance, and a friend had a medium do a reading, and the medium said that we had a cosmic connection, that he was more like my brother. I certainly didn't feel that. So I was just curious if you have any thoughts. Thank you.
Heather, never go back to that medium again. Heather. So first of all, sometimes a medium will get a sense that you've crossed paths or that you have a soul connection. I would never tell a client that your romantic love of your life, your love interest, was your brother in a past life. I don't even know where that's coming from. And anyone who's been to somebody who says something as disturbing as that, take it with a grain of salt.
Seriously.
Don't let that rule your mind. So
disturbing.
Your fiance, and I'm so sorry for your loss. I could hear her choking up. She clearly loves him very much. I'm so sorry. He will wait for you. If you choose him and have unfinished business with him, that's where you'll pick up where you left off. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy to be able to tell her that. And as far as your twin that died at birth and your daughter, yes, your twin could very well be sent back as your own child for you to love and bond with, because you didn't get to love and bond with that part of yourself throughout your life. So those are some of the exceptions. When it's somebody who never gets to develop their personality, they don't get the life experiences, that's an instance where a sister could be a daughter, that would come back in. A fiance, your brother, nah. So that's so bad. It's terrible. So yes, when babies pass and they don't get to live their lives, you will see them recycle back into families. Whereas this other medium in this scenario, that the fiance was a brother before. I mean, those are two fully formed adults in different lifetimes. The brother and the fiance role there. I mean, it's just I don't dabble in that. I haven't seen that. I've seen some people that are psychics talk about it, but like I always say to my audience, I can tell you what I know, what I experienced through the dead, what I've been shown, but I don't have all of the answers from the other side, and neither do these people. Yeah. So I just don't want Heather having that on her mind while she should be grieving her fiance. She should have been bringing your fiance through and been a secretary for the dead like I am, where he talks to her, she writes down the messages and passes them on to you about how he feels about you, how he sees your life unfolding, how old he is now, the age he reverted to, his heaven on earth. Those are the things he should be talking about, not what connection in a past life they might have had. What a lame reading. I know. And I can say that. I know. What's the medium going to do? Nothing. So I do hope, and Heather, you'll be able to tell this with your daughter. When it's somebody like a baby that passed in the family, I will hear people say, I feel like my nephew is my son. Like, I feel so connected to him and I can't put my finger on it, but we just have this closeness, and I lost a baby and then my nephew was born, and I feel closer to him than an aunt.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is because that soul recycled back in and wasn't coming through her, so found another vessel in the family to come into this physical plane through. So that would not be unusual for that to happen. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it was when she said that she felt her twin's presence for her whole life,
right,
up until her daughter was born, and now it's gone. That's what makes me think it is.
Yeah.
Because why else would she stop feeling her around?
Once they find a way in, that feeling will go away.
Yeah.
And it may have felt like forever, such a long time that she had waited to have that connection. So now her daughter gets to be her mini me.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
I love that.
Me too.
Sophia, where can people find you on social media?
Well, I do have a photography page called Sophia DuBois Photo. So look me up.
That's on Instagram?
That's on Instagram. And I hope you enjoy my work.
I love having you on because you give a perspective of intuition, but you grew up around this too your whole life. And you know what I do, and you understand people, and you're such an empath, and I love that about you. So I will be having you on in a few weeks as well.
Once a month. So sorry if you don't like my commentary.
Oh my gosh. Don't be silly.
Taking over one of your 4 a month.
All right. Well, we'll see you in a few weeks. And for you out there on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, Sophia, for being here with me today. You'll be back. I already read that. You'll be back in a few weeks. And thank you to my listeners. Tune in next week for a fresh episode. I'm Allison DuBois. This is The Dead Life. And to all of my believers out there, don't stop believing.